Hey guys, so this polar bear kid comes home from school, walks up to his mother and goes, "Be honest, am I really a polar bear?" And she goes, "Yeah, why are you asking?" Next day comes home from school, says to the dad, "Hey dad, am I really a polar bear?" The dad goes, "Yeah, why do you keep asking us?" Goes to school, next day comes home and goes, "I got to see both of you together." Says to his mother and father, "Listen, be honest, am I really a polar bear?" And they go, "Yeah, why do you keep asking us?" He goes, "Because I'm fucking freezing."
Oh, I thought this was going somewhere else.
Hey, man. Welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast, dude.
So, hey, welcome to the Big Bad Broadcast. We got a great show for you today. Why? Because we have no guests. It's just us. We got the amazing Mike Grief.
Amazing. Wow. I now I feel amazing. See, before I was feeling just adequate, but now I feel amazing. Thanks,
Yeah,
John.
there's Spider-Man, and now there's Mike, the amazing Mike.
That's right, the
That's
amazing
it.
Mike.
He throws
And
webs
we
and I
have-
throw puns.
And we have Craig Mitchell. Give Craig Mitchell a big round of applause.
Craig?
He's the chef. Craig Mitchell. Craig,
Craig.
I'm Italian. I'm Italian.
Wait. Maybe you should say the amazing Craig Mitchell. We can all be the amazing, and you're the amazing John Ferrentino. Or is that messed up for a magician? I don't know.
No, well, Amazing Jonathan is really too close. So,
Oh
Right.
man, did you guys? They
what?
Something
They
funny
did
happened with Amazing
they did a
Jonathan?
thing.
He's dead, isn't he?
They did a thing on Talk Soup on the amazing. Why did my microphone just change? They did a thing on Talk Soup.
Ring the bell, man. Ring the bell. Did your microphone
his
just
microphone
change?
changed. I'm sorry, Mike.
The guy,
Why
no.
is going on?
That's okay, Craig.
No, his microphone changed pronouns right in the middle of a show,
Why did my microphone just change?
It
and
went
now
from-
identifies as a speaker.
There you go.
No, I'm
It
serious.
changed.
I'm sorry.
Change.
Sorry, I got it. There we go.
Okay, now he's going to do
All
technical
right, now we're
stuff.
back. So no, so they did a thing on the. I did the thing on.
I hope it's as good as you fucking
Maybe
think it
it
is.
looks
They did
funny.
a
He's
thing
cracking
on-
up.
They did a thing.
Okay, let's talk amongst ourselves while John calms down enough to tell the story.
Okay. So who are we just talking about? The magician.
Amazing Jonathan.
The amazing Jonathan.
Not the amazing Jonathan.
Oh,
The amazing
amazing
Ferrentino.
Kreskin. The amazing Kreskin. The amazing.
Then I'm totally wrong. I was thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, I saw a thing on Houdini. I was watching a thing on Houdini the other day. John, your show is called as The Do Spirits Return. I never knew that was a Houdini thing, right?
Yeah, and I didn't either. And I had no idea.
Oh no!
He spent tens of thousands of dollars now, and it's.
I had no idea. And Michael Carbonaro thought that was the funniest thing in the world. He goes, "How long have you been in Magic?" He goes, "It was his poster."
It was his
Oh,
poster.
shit.
That's what I did. I saw this thing the other day, and I see this Houdini poster, and it says "Do Spirits Return," and I'm going, "Oh, that's where John got that." And
I swear to God, I didn't know because I would have never, especially in Magic. But no one seems.
Hold on, wait a minute. Plagiarism.
Oh wait. Who was Jonathan Pendragon? I thought you meant at first when you said Jonathan.
Oh,
Jonathan Pendragon got out of jail for trying to shoot his wife.
This is funny,
Anyway,
John.
Yeah, wait. So they did a thing on him on Talk Soup, right? And he's all serious, and he goes, and they have this Asian music playing, and you see these like statues, like you think he's in Japan. He's in that hotel above the Magic Castle, right? And he goes like this: he goes, "I am Jonathan Pendragon." He goes, "Magician extraordinaire." He goes, "I've had my fair share of injuries. I got shot with an arrow." And it cuts to the host. He goes, "Wow, who knew? Who knew American Indians hated magicians?" Right? And he cuts back to him. He goes,
That's
"I've had my fair share of injuries." And he goes, "Today I'm going to take," and he has all these granite blocks, and he wraps his hand in his towel, and he goes, "I am going to break these 5 granite blocks." And he goes, boom, and he breaks his hand.
Oh, man.
And he's going, oh.
I could have told you he's not a
happened.
great he fucking guy couldn't escape shackles for how many years he was in prison, right?
And then it cuts to him. He looks terrible. And the guy's going, "Is that a skin mask you're wearing?"
A skin mask.
Oh, okay. So wait, speaking of magicians, my cousin is on a cruise ship right now, and there's a comic magician on the show.
Right.
And she takes a picture of him after the show, and he says, "Oh my God, I can't." She goes, he goes to her, "Do you know anything about magic?" And she goes, "Well, my cousin is a magician," and he kind of rolls his eyes.
Right. Yeah.
She goes,
because everyone has a cousin who's a magician.
So she
Yeah,
goes like
of course.
this. He goes, "What kind of magic does he do?" He goes, "Comedy magic." He goes, "Oh my God, you know John Ferrentino?"
Also,
and then
like,
he said,
wow.
"Wait," and then he says to her, "Yeah, John and I are pretty good friends. I don't know if you noticed, but he gave me permission to use 4 jokes out of his act."
Oh shit!
Oh, it's not the guy who fucking stole the chair thing, is it?
No. So, I mean, how funny is that? Like, he just knew that she may have recognized some of my jokes.
Oh, in other
But
words, he stole them. He never had, but
No,
he
I
told
don't
your
even know
cousin.
I don't
I don't
even
even-
know the guy.
So
And
he
she
stole
said,
them,
"He
yeah.
gives me a
Well, there
picture,"
you
and
go.
I
That's the new. I'm going to start doing like whoever I think's funny. I'm going to start doing their act, and I'm just going to, if somebody says something, I'm just going, no, they gave me permission to do that.
I just thought that was so funny. I said to her right away, I go, "He only said that because you already saw his act, and there was
Mhm.
any jokes in there that you thought, you know." And he goes, "Well," she goes, "He definitely knows you." And he goes, "He's from Long Island. You know, he said he went to the Tannins Magic Camp and he remembered you and Michael hanging out there." And I go, "Yeah, there's no doubt he may know who I am, but I don't know him, and I never gave him permission to use
Yeah.
any of my jokes."
Oh, why would you do that?
That's one of the fucking problems with the internet, man. It's like everyone steals every fucking thing. They don't even give credit. And then somebody thinks, wow, look at this guy, Bob Smith. He's the funniest guy I ever saw. Or he's the greatest magician. But you fucking stole it from somebody else, you know?
Yeah, but it was so funny. As soon as he said, "In fact, I know him well. He gave me permission to do 4 of his jokes," right away. "See, you guys are comedians." You went, "Yeah, he stole 4 of your
Yeah.
jokes."
You're like,
And I say that to some other people because I think it's funny, like my sister, and she goes, "Well, that was nice of you." I go, "Nice of me? I didn't give him 4 jokes. I don't even know
Wait,
the guy."
What, just out of curiosity,
even
what,
know. I
you
don't
don't
even
even know. Because I'm thinking of your act and you like just talk. You don't really do like set up joke
No,
kind of a
no.
thing. You just, you're
Situation.
conversational and you talk and you do
Well,
your thing. You don't, and
There
not
are
that I know.
there are jokes like what I guess some of the stuff I say with the tricks may, you know, he's probably saying the exact same
But that's
thing.
like your personality. They're not like they're funny, but like, you know, it's just you being you kind of. I always thought.
Yeah, like I'm sure that Patrice O'Neill gave Amy Schumer permission to do half of his fucking act.
Oh yeah, sure. And you know, especially now that he's dead. He signed the papers to her after he
yeah,
died.
you can't prove it. Can't prove he didn't.
Yeah, it's bullshit. You know what I mean? But
I hate
anyway, you know what? There's enough people out there accusing bad comedians of fucking thievery, which I'm sure they're guilty of. But anyway,
The only
Happy New
thing
Year,
that-
everybody. We didn't say that. It's Happy New Year. It's
Happy-
2024.
2024. There you go, man.
the only the
I
only
am
thing-
fucking driving a fucking 2023 car. This is like I told you I had a freaking accident on at LAX while we were leaving for Christmas. So I got to rent a car right now. You know, while they're fixing my car. I'm driving the Mercedes Benz, man.
So you celebrated New Year's by getting into an accident?
No, it was the night before Christmas. Actually,
Not before Christmas.
we were flying out. No, actually, it was
night
the
before
yeah,
Christmas and all
yeah,
over the house.
and it was the night before Christmas in that LAX. Some old fucking. Actually, this woman should not have been driving. She was about 90. And the most annoying part of it is, you know, she's that 90 where she's feeble and she's like, I don't know what happened.
She didn't even know she hit you, right?
She didn't even know I'm knocking on her window. She hits my car. I'm stopped. You know, her car is pointing into my lane. It's so, you know, and she's trying to say that she thought I veered it. It's like, no. And I'm knocking on her. First, I'm knocking on her window and I say, are you aware that you hit me? And she's, no. She didn't even know she had an accident, you know? And so I had to take her and her husband, who was also about 90, and show them and say, you know, here, look at my car, look at the front of your car. And all this time I got to be nice because they're old and it's Christmas. And and you know, LAX, there's like the lanes and it's packed and it's crowded and everyone's yelling and screaming.
Well, she's 90 and she had an accident, and she may have had another accident. If you, well, that
Yeah.
depends. Get it?
Depends. But you try being nice when somebody just freaking,
I wouldn't be.
hit your
I wouldn't be.
car. Yeah, but what are you going to do? Am I going to yell at an old person, give her a heart
Yes,
attack,
I'm
kill
a
her?
bad person. I would probably
Should
go
have
off.
shot her.
You
What'd
know what?
say, John?
Should have shot her.
You know what? You can replace a car, but
It's hard to believe Mike's being nice in this situation.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, she's probably somebody's
It's only because
grandmother.
Patty. It's only because Patty was with him.
yeah, maybe he flipped the car. Did you flip the car at all?
No,
Did you smash their windshield at least?
I can be nice to old people and dogs. That's about and little kids, but only for about 5 minutes. So it's like I got her insurance information and whatever, and I said, "Merry Christmas, bye-bye," because I've got to go catch a plane now.
What kind of damage did you do to
How
your car?
bad was your car? Yeah.
No.
It wasn't terrible. She hit right at the back door, and then of course, I'm moving, so it scraped all along back to the back tire and fender and all that shit. And so it wasn't. I don't know structural damage that I'm aware of, but
That's expensive on a Ferrari.
it's $5,000. I just got the
Ferrari.
estimate. I just
That's
got the
expensive on
estimate.
a Ferrari, right?
5,000?
$5,000, and I wish it was a Ferrari. You probably couldn't even replace a light bulb on a Ferrari for 5,000.
Wow.
No,
that's-
I
well, you-
drive a luxury Buick. See, that's my point too. It's like I'm getting spoiled now. I never cared about cars. Motorcycles was always my thing. I always wanted a Harley. I got my Harley, but never really gave a shit about cars. I like trucks. But now I'm driving this Mercedes. It's a 2023 Mercedes, and it's not one of
you're
the.
becoming your brother.
I am. My brother loves Mercedes. He loves luxury cars anyway. And so, yeah, now I'm driving this thing and maybe I deserve. So now I'm thinking about I should trade my car in, get a Mercedes. Becoming what I hate.
So Minervini once had a Lincoln Continental, and I just couldn't picture him in a Lincoln Continental. So I go like this. I go, why are you in a Lincoln Continental? So I always had sports cars. And he goes, come on, let me give you a ride. So he gives me a ride, and it's like, who cares, right? We come back, and he goes,
No, that's a nice ride.
He goes, I feel it has a nice ride.
It is a nice ride,
He
man.
just said the same thing. I feel it had a nice ride. It was just, I didn't expect him to say that.
That's like a boat, man. In Lincoln, those those were nice riding cars. They don't even make them anymore, right?
I remember when Eddie Murphy got Saturday Night Live and got one of the first movies. He came back to the East Side, and I was always the guy with the best stereo in my car.
Right.
And he goes, come on, get my car. So I get in his car. He had a Porsche 948, I think, at the time.
Nice.
It was hot. And it was a 948. And all of a sudden, he turns on the radio, and it is so loud in there. And this is before people had those big woofers and stuff.
Right.
Like all of a sudden, like something in the Porsche rattled. You can't make something in a Porsche rattle. I go, how many speakers you got in here? He goes, I got 8 6x9s. And I go, 8 6x9 speakers in a 2-seater car. I go, why? He goes, because they fit.
Because they fit. Oh man. Well,
I hate loud music in a car.
I don't mind. Yeah, but not too loud.
My son in high school had those woofers in the trunk where you hear the whole car rattle.
Oh God! Well, then I guess does your daughter has Lindsay ever owned a car? Because she doesn't. She just got a license, so I guess she's never even
got
had
her
a car.
license this week, and she lives in New York City, so it doesn't mean that she's.
Come on, man! I grew up in New York City. I grew up in the projects, and I had a car.
Yeah, but you see, John, now if she ever finds herself on a bus with Keanu Reeves, she can drive.
I know.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, this is Lindsay's driving story because this is kind of funny. When she was 16 years old, and she had her permit, and she was driving with her mother, and they were coming back. And you're not supposed to be driving at night in the dark with a permit. So she was coming down this curvy road, and every time a car came past her in the opposite direction, she would swerve, right? And she would swerve a couple of times. So she got pulled over by a policeman because he thought she was drinking.
Mm.
And Margie started laughing so hard, her mother.
They thought she was drinking.
They thought she was drinking and breathalyzed both of them.
Wait, what?
Really?
And
when the cop found out that she was 16 with her mother, he was really embarrassed.
Right.
So after that, she bought a car, and she had the car. And one day we were all out of town, and she took the car literally 400 feet to her friend's house and smashed into the back of the neighbor's car.
Oh,
Oh
geez.
man.
No, I'm sorry. She came from the neighbor's house and smashed into our car, the parked
Oh,
car.
no.
So after that, she really didn't want to drive. Then she went to NYU when she was 17 and has lived in the city really
Well, you
ever
don't. I mean, honestly, you don't need a car. Living in New York, you don't. I always
don't
had
need one.
one, but I have my brother. My older brother is what 65, and he has never owned a car in his life. You know, buses, subways, never.
She
You
lives in
know,
the city, right?
cab. He lived in the city for years. He moved out to Queens. But
Yeah.
you don't need it for you, honestly. And now with Uber, you know, and there's no reason for actually owning a, you know, there's definitely no reason for drunk driving anymore, you know, unless you just because you want to. Hey man, I'm wasted. I gotta fucking drive a little bit, you know.
Somebody told me this New Year's Eve, says, hey, be careful. There's a lot of amateurs on the road driving drunk. I went, you know what? I think the amateurs are smart enough not to drive drunk. The people who are driving drunk on New Year's Eve are the people who always drive drunk.
That's it.
Except
And then
they're
you took
all out
a
on
then
the
you
same
took a
night.
long swig. Then you took a long swig on your bottle, and you
I
went,
did.
"Oh, don't worry about
Hey,
it."
I'm embarrassed to say, you know, when I was 17 years old and I used to go to this beer night for 25 cents a beer, and it was so stupid. I mean, a lot different than it is today. But I used to, there was a back road all the way from this bar to my parents' house. And I used to wake up in the morning and wonder where my car was.
Come on, John. I used to
I feel
drive a
really
truck.
terrible saying that. I feel really terrible
I used to
saying that.
drive a truck in Manhattan, and I used to drive drunk. I mean,
I feel really embarrassed saying that, but it's like,
in my early, from the time I was 27 to 31, when I was doing gigs, I was always drunk driving.
yeah,
I mean, to the point where it was like 0.20 probably.
I have a great story of my friend Jimmy. My friend Jimmy had a Triumph TR6, like almost like mine, only in red. And he worked for the phone company, and I guess he was like 20, and maybe he was a little bit older, but he was 20 because he was living at home. And he, if you know anything about a TR6, they have 4 exhaust pipes, and they are louder than shit. They sound like a Piper Cub.
what is your car?
TR6,
And it's
Triumph TR6.
and is he a big guy like you?
Yeah.
Why do big guys like these little cars? I don't get that.
Well, we weren't so big back when we were teenagers. But anyway, he they had a big office party for his boss who was retiring. He was certainly, as he tells the story, a little overserved, and he had to go home. So instead, he drove home, and this thing is so loud, and he had the top down, and he's driving along, and a cop pulled him over, and he had a suit on and everything, and the cop was, excuse me, have you been drinking? And he said, yes. He goes, I have been. It was my boss's party. I didn't realize it, but I guess maybe I had one too many, and I don't know what to do. And the cop said, this is how different it was. I appreciate your honesty. I see where you live. I can follow you home.
Wow.
So he follows him home, and now he says, I'm driving in second gear all the way. He goes, it is the loudest thing you have ever heard in your life. And he goes, and I'm creeping down Long Beach Road, which is a busy road. I get to my house. I pull up. I pull into the driveway. He goes, I'm driving, like making sure the wheel, I don't swerve at all. I get out. I walk up to the cop. And the cop pulls up, and I hang in the window, and I go, you have how much I appreciate this, you know? And he goes, well, I followed you, you know, you seem to be okay. He goes, I don't usually drink. And the cop goes, yeah, no. He goes, you were actually fine. He goes, you were totally in control of the way home. With that, he turns around and trips over 3 empty garbage cans. The lights come on in the window, and his father yells out the window, God damn it, Jimmy, are you drunk again?
Oh, you gotta love that. Thanks,
story.
Dad. Fucking timing is
story.
impeccable.
True
But I used to. I mean, like Craig said.
Wait, because the cop just shook his head and drove away.
Of course.
It's like Craig said, man. I'm fucking used to go out every Friday, Friday, Saturday, whatever night, man, and I'd be drinking, and I don't know, but it was before the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, all of that shit, and we would just drive. I got pulled over how many times? And fucking cop would used to just say, "All right, just park the fucking car and go," because it'd be 4 or 5 in the morning,
So
and they
you
didn't
never
want to
got
be
you never got
bothered.
a you never got a DUI or a DWI?
Nope, never
Neither did
got one.
I.
No, I
Neither
didn't.
did I.
My ex-wife told me that when she lived in South Dakota, she was a bartender at this bar, and in South Dakota in the wintertime, you have a survival kit in the car with blankets and food because you
Jägermeister.
get because you get stuck
Yeah.
somewhere.
It's like the
So
little
she said
dog. You got Jägermeister.
she said she got in the car, and after working a shift and people buying her shots and stuff, and she said she got about a block away and said, "This is ridiculous. I shouldn't be driving." And so she laid down in the front seat, she put the blanket over her, and she goes, "But in this little town, everyone knows each other, you know?" So the cop raps on the window, and he goes, "Margie, are you all right?" And she goes, "I opened the door and threw up on his shoes."
But there's no
one time
ticket for that.
I was coming back from a gig upstate, and I was super drunk, and I was. It's a miracle I never hurt anybody. I was really bad, and I realized I was bad. I said I got to pull off the road. And now this is the day where I used to drive with a bottle of vodka under my car seat.
Mm.
I was a bad alcoholic, man. I still am, but I'm not drinking. But I pulled over in Mount Vernon. It was a light snow was coming down, and I parked in the street, and I rested my eyes with the car running and the heater on, and I passed out. And I woke up 5 hours later. My car had stalled. The battery was dead. And I'm freezing. I had peed all over myself. So my pants are now wet and partially frozen.
Mm.
I'm shivering. And my bottle of vodka was in full view on my passenger seat. And I was parked on a block that was no parking.
Mhm.
And I honestly don't know how a cop. Oh, the cops are calling me right now.
Well, I don't know how you called yourself super drunk, because that sounds like a pretty bad drunk. I wouldn't call you super drunk.
No, I would no, and the thing is, if a cop had pulled over and looked in and saw the bottle, I was in jail for sure.
Well, you weren't driving though.
Doesn't
You
matter.
were
You had
parked.
the keys in the ignition
You have an open bottle in the car.
and the keys in the ignition. That's intent to drive drunk.
Wow, so they can prove your intent, huh? No, I just needed a. I couldn't
That's how they
drink.
do it. So I had to
I
wait
can't
2
drink in the
hours.
house. My
So
wife
I-
won't let me. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I walked to a Shell station and had to wait 2.5 hours for the mechanic to come in to put a new battery in my car. And I was all piss stained. I was in a Jets jacket, which was even more embarrassing. And yeah, I'm very, 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 very grateful that I never hurt anybody. It's not really a joke, but it's amazing. Yeah, I drove.
I would have found it funny.
But I drove hundreds of times drunk and
All
never
right, we
been
just
pulled
have
over.
to say here at the Big Bad Broadcast, we do not condone
No.
drinking and
No, we
driving
do not.
at
These are
all.
Cautionary.
past events.
These are two guys that are sober now for years.
That's right. 26 years. I have been clean and sober, and proud of it. And I am not proud of those things I did. They're
No.
funny. It's funny. It's there must have been somebody watching over me, because
Me
like
too.
I said, I drove a damn truck through whatever. Anyway,
No, it's cautionary. I mean, I tell that story because frankly, I'm amazed I survived, and I'm really grateful I never hurt anybody else.
driving, man. I'll tell, like I said, man, motorcycles were my thing, man. Cars. I know we probably hit on this before, but what's your favorite car of all time? Even from a new car today
That you
to
own?
go back as far as you want. What is the favorite? If you could have any car in the world from any year,
Oh,
what car would it be?
jeez.
Porsche.
Really?
Porsche?
Boy, I hate those things.
Porsche.
Really?
Drive one and then tell me you hate it. I had one for about a year. I had a 911 whale tail Porsche. That
Right.
wasn't mine. My friend Bill bought it from a friend of mine, but was afraid to send it to New York till he could manage to tell his wife. So he told me to take it for the year, to drive it. Anything wrong with it, go get it fixed and whatever. And at the time, my son was trying to convince me to sell my car, my TR6, and buy this. It's like nothing you've ever driven before in your life. I mean, I made that turn. I don't even remember. There's a right-hand turn at the gas station near my house, that Sunoco station.
Right.
When we're leaving, I took that turn one night at 3:00 in the morning at 90 miles an hour.
So you were a speed freak. That's the you
I'm
picked
not
the
a
Porsche
speed
because
freak.
you enjoy
Not
that.
no, not a top end speed freak. A
Well,
handling speed freak. Do you know what I'm saying?
okay,
Like,
yeah.
I'd rather go around a turn at like 90 miles an hour than do 100 in a car. You know what I mean?
Have you ever
Let's
gone
be
to a
real.
racetrack? Because you know they can
No,
put you
no,
in a
I
race
haven't.
car. You can actually, I'm sure you can pay
I
a few
know.
dollars and go and race a car.
And it wouldn't be that kind of racing. It would be like they have these sports car races in parking lots around cones and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, you know what they
where you
also
don't
have
really
now?
get going fast. Where you don't really get going fast.
You can
But
rent the car of your dreams too. What's it? Craig probably knows this. There's like
yeah,
a thing where you can rent
yeah,
almost any car you can think of. There are people in these luxury cars, and you know as long as
yeah.
you
I know.
sign an agreement.
I mean, that's
Really?
what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite car. I'm sitting here thinking while John was telling his story about this car, about the Porsche. I mean, I don't have one anymore, really. But I'll tell you one car I would love to have, and you guys are gonna laugh at me. You're just gonna laugh at me. There's two. There's two. Okay,
Volkswagen.
one is the Firebird from Smokey and the Bandit. I always loved that car.
Right.
And the other one is the Starsky and Hutch car with the white stripe. I always wanted that Torino. That's it. That's from that.
See, so you guys are into the muscle cars, and you like that muscle. See, for me, that's why I like
I
motorcycles.
just like
but
muscles.
he just likes muscles.
Muscles.
Eating muscles from a shell.
I've had my share of some pretty great cars. I had a 1968 powder blue Chevy Impala convertible with a white
Right.
top with a glass window in the back, which was
I had
very
a what was it? I think I had an Impala. The fucking things are powerful.
yeah. I
Yeah.
had a MGB GT. I had a Triumph.
Is that a gay car?
TR7.
That has a lot of initials in that.
A lot of
Yeah,
initials.
it is. It's a gay car.
MGB GT QRXL.
QRXL.
And my friend Jimmy, it's very funny. My friend Jimmy, who had the Triumph, I just told you a story about him driving, used to go MGB GT. What does that mean? The mighty green.
Morphin.
What was it? The GT stood for garbage truck.
Garbage
And
trucks.
he had a
yeah.
TR6, and he used to make fun about how slow my car was. And now I have a TR6, and he has an MGB.
See, for me, say I want something totally different, and it's not, and it has nothing to do with the anything other than it was the first car I remember my dad driving, and it was a Ford Galaxy 500. I want to get a Ford Galaxy 500, either fix it up or buy one already restored.
Put mags on it.
Nah, that's just too like
No.
low ride. No,
Riders.
nah, I don't want a low ride. I just want this like stock kind of a car with a nice paint. Just because it's nostalgic to me.
I had
You
a
know
I
what
had
I
a
re-
69
I-
Camaro.
I had a
nice.
69 Nova. That was a nice friggin' car.
Same engine, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it was. You know what car? You know what? As much as I love my Triumph TR6, I would love right now. I'd like to trade it in, if I could, to a fully restored one of those old station wagons.
Oh, the Woody, the ones with the
Woody?
wood. Oh, I
Oh
love
no,
those
not the
fucking
Woody.
ones.
The Woody I would take in as that would be my favorite car. out
Oh
of
my God,
everything
they
you
are
pick.
so cool.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying one of those old station wagons from the 70s.
Any old station wagon, like
Yeah,
yeah, those are.
With the back seat.
with the 5 seat with a seat that faces backwards.
When
Yeah.
is the last time you saw one of those? You don't see them. They must have
And when
crushed
you
them
see
all.
them now, they're about $40,000.
And the gate that opens two ways. It
Yeah.
opens as yeah.
And back in the day, you thought, what a piece of shit. And now
Right.
you're like, fuck, I'd love to
You'd
own
be
one of those
embarrassed to
things.
drive. You'd be embarrassed to drive it.
I know, right? But
And
today,
do you guys remember the Nash Ramblers?
Yeah.
yes,
Love those.
And that front seat would go down flat into like a bed.
yes, it was like that was another model, but was that the businessman thing? Because they'd go on sales and then you could lay it down.
I don't
so that
know.
they
I know
could-
that two of my friends had them that I surfed with, and they used to
They would
love
sleep in
going
them,
to the
yeah.
beach.
Yeah, traveling salesmen used to own cars like that. So they would drive and then they could take sleep in the car and then,
The
When they
Nash
were-
was a small car, right? That's the one that Lois Lane used to drive on the old Superman.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I love those cars.
Although every car that I had when I was younger was a moving motel. I don't think I owned a car. It's
Of course.
from ages when I was driving until
I
whatever.
told you my car had a double bed mattress in the back seat. That's why every time I went to take a girl on a date, the father would come out, look at my car, and go, "Take my car."
Take my car. That was the dream though. Remember the vans? They used to have the beds in the back. I had
And
one of those for a short time. I had a Dodge Ram van that was fixed up like that and little hotel on wheels, man.
Oh yeah, those are great cars.
Missed
I used to have
those.
an
Those were
Opel. I had
fun.
an Opel station wagon.
Oh my God, Opals.
I had an
Opel.
Opel station wagon with curtains in it.
All right.
Oh,
I don't share this too often, but when I was 8, I was fascinated with cars,
Right?
and my dad really encouraged that. And I was always getting into his car. Now, this is what I would do in the neighborhood. I would I would get into his car in the driveway, and I would disengage it and put it into neutral, and it would roll and crash into our gate at the end of the driveway. And I
that
did that
was
constantly because I
good.
wanted to play in the car, right? So my dad was a part-time mechanic, went to a junkyard, and for $50, he bought a 1955 Opel with no engine, had it towed into our backyard so I could play in it.
How
Wow.
cool is that?
That's
Yeah.
fucking pretty cool for a dad. I mean,
That's
shit.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, my fucking dad, I think the best toy he ever gave me was, something he thought I'd kill myself with. Here, go play with these lawn darts, you fucking get out of my sight, you
Well,
bastard.
I told you when I got my first car, I was like 16, and my father said that he from the time I could take my road test, he said I think he must have put in like 12 or 1500 miles going up and down the driveway.
See that, and that's the difference. Now today, kids don't give a shit about cars. Like I have nephews, and the one just turned 17. He got his license, but almost begrudgingly. The other one's 20, and he just got his license. It's like he didn't. They don't even want to. They don't want the
They have
responsibility.
Uber.
They don't want to drive.
They have Uber.
But you know what? I couldn't. I get no. You know what? It's because driving to us symbolized freedom. It's like Johnny Depp with the ship. Remember when
Yeah.
he described what a ship was? It was freedom, and that's what a car was back then. I could get in my car. I could go anywhere I wanted. And today, I guess they have that, or they don't want it. I mean, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
You couldn't wait for your driver's license from the time you're like 9 on. You're
Exactly.
counting the moments until you hit.
But
till
you
you
know,
got
that's
your
not
earnest
all
point.
kids. My son, the day he turned 16, he had an appointment to go get his permit test. The
Yeah.
day he turned 16.
Well, some
And we
kids
went down, and then I told you he was obsessed. The day he could take his license test, he was there. He passed the first time. He was so excited. In fact, he passed it on a stick shift, which he had driven 3 times.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I learned on too. My old man, and his logic was that I was going to be definitely driving a truck eventually, so better learn on a stick shift.
I was born late in the school year, so I qualified to take driver's ed in the summer between my junior and senior year. So I took driver's ed, passed, and because we had a neighbor who lived, I think I mentioned this in the show. I had a neighbor who lived upstairs who worked for the DMV. So I took the test at 1 o'clock. I came home. I took a nap. When I woke up at 4 o'clock, she came to my front door with my license, and I was driving by 4:30.
Well,
You mean you had a neighbor that
when
didn't
Lindsay,
work at the DMV?
when Lindsay just passed the test, they took her right over to the counter, took her picture, and gave her a license right then and there.
Wow, it's gotten a lot faster. Well, yeah. Back then it was all papers, and there was
Well,
no.
now you see, also, I think there was a difference between, boys and girls anyway. The guys, I remember all our friends, my friends wanted their license, wanted to drive, whatever. Now, only a few of us got access to cars, but I don't remember any of the girls talking about getting their license, can't wait to drive. I guess back then it was different. They wanted to get driven. They didn't care about driving, getting cars,
Do you
just
think it's different now?
they wanted to play with Barbie.
Do
What?
you think it's different now?
I think it is different now. I think women are girl, whatever, they're so much more independent. And it's not about, like for us, it was like we wanted those muscles. They just want freedom and independence. And
And you know why, Mike?
why is that,
To
John?
the Barbie movie.
Yes, the
That's
Barbie
right.
movie.
Barbie.
Well, that's the first thought I
Today's
had,
show
John, when
is
you said the TR6,
Yeah.
and Mike said, "Oh, why does big guys always want to be in it?" My first thought was, well, when you're a big guy sitting in a TR6, it's like being in your Barbie vet.
It is. It
Thank
is.
you, Barbie.
So this is funny. I only went out with women with girls that had sports cars
Oh, I
on
thought he
the
was good.
internet.
So they have big headlights, John. Do they have
My
big
father
suits?
used to make fun of me all the time. He goes, I go to my dad. I go, I got a date Friday night, and he goes, yeah, okay, what did she drive? Right. So
was there
I
was
went
there
out.
room in the trunk?
Listen, I went out
Whoa,
with a
hey.
girl that had a TVR. I don't know if you ever know what that car is, man. Look it
TVR.
up
TVR. Was it like a TV dinner? I
A
don't know. What the fuck? What's
TVR
a
was like
TVR?
It's covered
it
in
looked like a
tinfoil.
Ferrari in the front, and then the back just went straight and was just cut off, and it was all glass, and it was fast. And then I went out with a girl that had a Triumph Spitfire, and one night it's kind of funny. One night I was going, and you know Long Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yeah.
beach and it's long,
So I
right?
left. No, I left the Azores Hotel going to the Parkway. It was just a series of beach resorts, but it's kind of straight road. So I get in the car and I'm driving. I had long blonde hair at the time. I'm driving, my hair's blowing in the wind, and I'm driving
Yeah.
her car. And I look down and I'm doing, and the speedometer's it's 40, and I look down and I'm doing 90, and all of a sudden I go, I better slow down, otherwise I'm gonna get a ticket. And with that, the car came out right out of the beach with the sirens on, pulls me over, and he goes, and I took driver's ed, and they told you different things to say when you get pulled over.
I'm not on drugs,
Like,
man.
right. So he goes like this. He goes, as he pulls me over, the girl goes, "Ooh, I hope I have the registration."
Oh,
You better have the registration. So as he pulls over, the cop walks up to the car and he goes, I go, "Is there a problem, officer?" And he reaches into the car and he grabs me by the shirt and he goes, "Do I look like a fucking moron?"
do I
And
answer
go,
that?
And I go, "Yeah, there's no way to answer that." So I go, "Well, that's it, man. I'm getting this ticket." So he takes my license and her registration and he walks back to his car and she goes, "Don't just sit here. Go talk to him. Maybe you can get out of the ticket."
Oh yeah, that's smart.
So I get out of the car and I walk over, and he's kind of writing under the street light, you know, the illumination of the street light.
Right.
And I stand right where now his pad gets black.
See,
right?
rule number one is you never get out of the car.
Yeah.
Never.
So he goes to me, "Can I fucking help you?"
Oh
New
shit.
York, New York cops.
Who
I
is this
go,
cop? Dennis Franz?
Well, I
And
go, no, he just knew that he probably thought it was my car and I was some rich, bratty piece of shit kid.
right.
So I goes like this. He goes, "Can I help you?" And I go, "Oh, I never got a ticket before. I just didn't know whether I should come over here." And he goes, "No, you can get the fuck back in the car."
It is Dennis Franz.
And as I walk to the back of the car, I noticed the number on his car was 718. It's embedded in my mind now forever. And all of a sudden I hear over the loudspeaker, "Active burglary, Azores Hotel, cars 718, 716, 17. Respond immediately."
Oh, and had he written your
And
information
he
yet?
jumps out of the car and he hands me my license and says, "If I ever see you fucking walking through here, you're going to jail." And took off and never got the ticket.
Ah, that's your lucky day.
Yeah.
One time I was driving late night on Long Island. It was around between Montauk and Levittown, and I got pulled over. And I was completely sober. I was working. He pulled me over, took my license and all that. He goes, I go, well, I asked him, well, what was the problem? He goes, well, I thought you were driving a little strange. I'm like, oh, and have you been drinking? No. He looked at my eyes and, oh, okay, all right, you can go. And I start driving, and he takes off, and I go, wait a minute, he still has my license. He had my license, so I followed him,
Right.
and he pulled over somebody else. So I pulled him behind him.
There you go.
And
You pulled over the cop.
I did, and I walk up to, and I'm like, am I going to get shot? I walked up to him. I'm like, excuse me. And he behind his back, he's not, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and he whipped around and went, you still have my license. He went, oh, and took it out of his top pocket and handed it me. Here you go. I thought I was going to get killed, man.
One night in the Hamptons, my cousin and I were smoking some doobies, and we were driving around, and this cop started following us.
Uh-oh.
So he's following us all around the town. And my cousin lives there. My cousin goes, watch this.
Oh,
And we
no.
pull into his semicircle driveway, and we come out behind the cop, and we start following him.
There you go.
We follow him for like miles. And the cop was like, what the fuck are these people doing? You know?
That's not too smart, man. I'd be like
No.
thinking, what are they going to shoot me? Or
We were stoned. We thought it was a good idea.
yeah, there you go.
We never thought that he could stop the brake, like put on the brakes,
Yeah.
walk back and go, what are you guys doing? No, we were too stupid to think about that.
Did you ever get out of a ticket you know you deserved, Mike?
Oh, I've gotten out of a few, man. The most fun one though was I was driving. I used to, I used to have that fucking phobic thing, so I wouldn't fly. So I drove across country like 5 times.
Really?
Driving. Oh yeah, man. I've driven across country like at least 5 or 6 times. So I'm driving. I'm in Texas, and it's early morning, and it's foggy, and it's whatever. And I'm doing like 9 because Texas is like a bad comedian. It just goes on and on and on. It doesn't know when to fucking stop.
Bad comedian. I heard that. It's really good.
And it just you just drive. Oh fuck! It's the drive. So I get pulled over. I'm doing like 90 something, and the cop pulls me over, asks my license and registration. I hand it to him, and he goes, "Where are you coming from?" So I said, "Florida." He goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "California." He goes, he nods his head. He goes, "What do you do in California?" I said, "I'm an actor." He goes, and he fucking points at me because I had just done a couple of home improvement. He recognized me.
Wow.
And he fucking gave me my shit back. And this was a state trooper, and they don't let anybody off. I mean, they were legendary. Like he gave me, and he just said, just keep it in the speed limit, but that was a pretty cool one.
I was surfing one morning in Cocoa Beach, and I got up. It was like 5 a.m, and I knew it was offshore winds, and the tide was right. So I got on that strip road that goes along the beach, and it's like 30 miles an hour, and I was doing probably like 48. I got pulled over by this cop. The cop walks up to the window, and he goes, license registration. And I go, oh, shit. And he looks at it, stands there and looks at it right then and there. And he goes, yeah, I don't want to hold you up too long. The tide's going to change and the wind's going to come up, but this next 2 hours is probably your best waves.
Wow.
Hands me my license registration.
Whoa, that's pretty. That's
so he was like
cool.
A surfer, I guess. He knew all about surfing.
That's pretty.
So, Mike,
really
you reminded me but speaking about a state trooper, I was going home from Atlantic City with my mom.
Do I have to ring the bell?
No.
Okay.
And
that's
in the
not
left lane.
gay. That's just nerdy.
No, it's my mom. There's nothing gay about my mom.
It's just nerdy.
Yeah, and I'm driving her home from Atlantic City. I guess I was speeding in the left lane, and a New Jersey state trooper pulls us over.
Oh, with that stupid hat they wear.
Oh God! And we
pulled over by another one.
And we had just stopped and got drinks and snacks too. So
right.
So we pull over, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh shit! I'm gonna get this ticket. My mom goes, "I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it." I go, "Mom, no." I'm like, no, I'll take care of it. So the trooper comes to the window and goes, "Hey, again, you're in a hurry, huh?" And my mother held her stomach and went, "He's trying to get me to a restroom. I'm going to piss my pants." Right?
I love it.
And I went with her. Yeah, officer, she's about to have an accident. And he goes, "Wait, so you have to pee really bad?" Yeah. And he goes, "What about all these drinks and snacks you have in the car?" And my mother looked at him and goes, "That's why I have to pee."
Wow, she was quick on her feet.
He let us go.
There you go.
Let us go.
Right.
Well, just stay within the speed limit.
The best story in the world is Mulrooney's story. When he went on the ride along with it was the opposite, but when he went on, his brother was a cop and he went on a ride along with his brother. And so they went on this domestic call for whatever's going on. And so, John was on the show, Comic Strip Live.
Right.
And so he's standing there when his brother and they're talking and the fucking cop the guy recognizes him from the show and he goes, "Nah, man, you can see, John Mulrooney." I'm being punked.
Right.
He thought he was being punked.
We're being punked. It's John Mulrooney.
Oh, man.
The guy goes,
that's hilarious.
And the guy goes like this. He says, No. He goes, "Yes, I'm John Mulrooney, but you're not being punked." And the guy goes to his wife, "Shit, maybe next week Eddie Murphy will arrest us."
There you go. Oh,
And he can
Okay,
have all those
here's-
speakers in his cop car.
Here's a good one, right? Back to my Impala. So my Impala didn't have a back window that opened. And back then surfboards went from like 9.5, 9.6, 9.8 down to like 5.4, right?
I don't know what that means.
It's the length of them.
The length.
You would have to tie it to the top.
Oh,
So yeah, but it was a convertible, so I couldn't tie it to the top. So normally in a convertible, you would just put it in the back seat and it would hang out.
Right.
So I checked out what the law was because I didn't know whether I could have it hanging out, how far they could hang out.
It was a bad choice of cars for a surfer, wasn't it, John?
So I had my 6-foot fish, which is like a little board, and it was hanging out over the back, maybe 12 inches, I guess. You know what I mean? By the time you had it on an angle. So I'm going down the road and I get pulled over by a cop. Cop gets out, walks over to me and goes, "I'm issuing you a ticket for having sporting equipment hanging out of the back of your car." And I said, "No, sir, you're absolutely incorrect. This is legal."
They love hearing that.
And he said, "What do you mean legal?" And I said, "The law is 36 inches above the natural roof line of the car.
Oh.
And this isn't even covering above the roof line of the car."
Can I just ask you quickly, did he beat you?
No, he took out his nightstick.
Because I would have fucking beat you if I was
He
the
took out
cop.
his nightstick and said, "This nightstick is 30 inches," and put it on the side of the surfboard and measured it and said, "It's more than 30 inches." And I said,
36.
"Sir, you're measuring the hypotenuse of the angle, not the height."
Wow. Holy shit.
The hypotenuse
And
of
he
the
went-
angle.
And
Were
he
you
went,
stoned again, John?
wait. And he went, "Great, here's your fucking ticket." And I went, "Great, I'll see you in court." So I went to court, and the judge said, "Can you explain what's going on?"
That's
And he
the
said,
hypotenuse of the
so first of all, he said, "I saw the surfboard hanging out of the rear window of the car." So I turned around and I went like, I got up and I went, "Your Honor, let me explain something to you." I said, "He says that his nightstick is 30 inches long. I'm not going to dispute that factor. I don't know whether
You're
it is
arousing me.
or-
Stop with this. Stop with the
It
nightstick
is.
stuff.
I go, I
Well,
don't know.
it's not the
whether
length of the nightstick, it's the girth.
The width.
Anyway,
I
go
go,
ahead.
I don't know if it is or it's not. When he was measuring the height, he actually measured the hypotenuse of the angle instead of the height. He measured the long distance, not the height. But let's start with the fact that my car's in the parking lot with a window that doesn't open, and he says that the surfboard was hanging out of the back. So the hypotenuse is really irrelevant. I have no more further questions.
You got an irrelevant hypotenuse,
And the
motherfucker.
judge, right? The judge went, "Whoa! Somebody listened in geometry."
Geometry.
Oh, that is
So
an
he goes like
irrelevant
this, he goes-
hypotenuse.
He says to the cop, "Do you know what a hypotenuse is?" The cop goes, "No." And he says, "All right, so if this is a triangle, this would be the height, this would be the hypotenuse, which is always bigger than the height." He goes, "So he's absolutely correct." And he says, "And you said it was hanging out of the back window." "Well, I think it was hanging out of the back window, but you don't even know." "Okay, not guilty." Boom.
Wow,
Beautiful.
man. Pays to know about hypotenuses and hippopotamuses.
This is off our current topic, but did you see there was a TikTok from January 1st? I think it was Colorado. There was this judge. It's a woman. She had kind of wild gray hair. I mean, gray.
Does she have a hypotenuse?
She had hypotenuse hair, and she was just doing basically pronouncing sentence on this criminal. And you hear him curse, and he ran, and he leaped over leaped over the desk and tackled her behind the chair.
I saw that.
You
man.
see
I
that
saw
shit?
that. Yeah, I saw it.
Holy shit! What do you get for that? I mean, that's got to be another 5,
What do
10
you
years.
get?
You
You
get a
get the
hypotenuse.
36 inch hypotenuse beat.
You get a hypotenuse, man. You get a hypotenuse on the side of your
And
head.
he got her though. He
motherfucker.
got her. Oh my God! I was like, wow. Our society's just crumbling around us. The hypotenuse.
He flew, man. He flew like a.
And meanwhile,
fucking-
my friend Bill J, who's an attorney, actually, I told him that story. He thought it was brilliant. Years
This
later,
show is sponsored by
Wait.
Bill J, attorney.
Bill
at
J,
law.
attorney at law.
meanwhile, a bunch of years later, there was a big lawsuit about this handicap ramp, and
Right.
it wasn't tall enough. and
Hypotenuse.
he used the high. He goes, I used the hypotenuse theory, and I won.
Oh, there you go.
Have you been in a car accident and you didn't know the hypotenuse? Contact Billy J, attorney at law, man.
John, you missed your calling. You could have been a magician lawyer. You could have made.
Could
You
have been a
know,
lawyer. I
His
could have
name
been a
is
lawyer.
magician
You know,
lawyer
that-
is funnier.
his name is Bill J.
you know that I've been to traffic court.
Bill
4
J
times.
got me
Wait, I've been to
$400 million.
traffic court 4 times, and I've been 4 times in traffic court, and I've been to small claims court 5 times, and I've never lost a case.
Yeah,
I've lost every time.
I've never lost a case.
You're like Sherlock, not the what's the Sherlock plaintiff, whatever the fuck.
I'm
let,
like,
let me get your opinion on this. When I back in 1981, I did a show called Gemini, and on our last show, we hired this guy to come in and videotape the show so we'd have it for posterity, right?
Right.
And he said, "I'm going to do it for $350." So the
Is
whole
that a gay thing, Craig? You had it for posterity?
posterity, posterity,
Listen,
whatever.
don't listen.
So we all got the money together, you know, whatever came out of piece.
Right.
He showed up on the day of and said, "I'm sorry, it's too big of a job. It's going to be $700." He doubled it.
Right.
And we said, "No, we you told us 350. No, it's got to be 700 or I can't do it." And we said, we talked about it. And we said, he's screwing us. So he turned around and said, "Fine, don't do it. Go home."
Yeah.
And then he started to panic. He said, okay. I'll do it for the 350. And we went, "No, get out of here."
Yeah.
Right. He sued us because of the rental fees, I guess. And we go, and I was the one who contacted him. So I'm the one who got sued and we're in court and I described it just as I said to you. And the judge found in favor of him because we wouldn't do it for the original 350.
Does this story have a hypotenuse?
You just wait. You didn't even listen. You just waited.
No, man, I heard it. You lost the case because you didn't have a fucking hypotenuse.
If I
man.
did, I would have hired John to represent.
If you would have
Yeah,
went in
I
there and
would've-
you said, "Your Honor, the camera that he wanted to use had a hypotenuse
You went
angle."
around it all wrong. Your angle should have been, as John Ferrentino, the lawyer,
Yeah.
your angle should have been, since he wasn't living up to the original deal and we lost the value of trust, how
Right.
could we trust him that he would deliver on the 350?
Exactly.
Wow.
That's what have been
So
my argument.
let's go back
too.
in time and do this again.
I could have
Look
won
at
the case for you.
John, look at
could.
what
Bill
That was
J.
good.
Bill J. always tells me I should have been a lawyer.
That's
Bill
really
John
good.
Ferrentino, attorney at law.
Bill goes, you have a very analytical mind, and you can look at the angle.
OJ should have hired you.
I know.
The hypotenuse
Do
of
they- now,
that
you
knife.
Now you're in Florida. Do they have because I know they got some weird ass fucking lawyers out here. I wonder if they're national. Do you got a guy? You see commercials for somebody called Sweet James?
Sweet James. No, he's
Now,
local.
honestly,
I
would
got
you
barbecue
hire?
sauce. I think it's Sweet James.
Would you hire a fucking guy
No.
who called himself Sweet James?
No.
And he
No.
comes, he does these weird commercials like Sweet James, and it's like, dude,
Ugh.
I would
Do you
fucking
have
maybe hire
Muns
you.
and Muns? Do you have Muns and Muns?
No, we got
We have
Morgan and
300
Morgan.
We
got Morgan
we
and
have
Morgan.
Jacob and Ronnie.
We got Morgan and Morgan. They have 362 lawyers in that branch.
Yeah,
We have
They're
Jacob and
huge.
Ronnie.
and he actually represents the Lakers, I think, Jacob and Ronnie.
So I called them one time. I said, "Hi." They went, "Jacob and Ronnie." I go, "Yeah, let me speak to Ronnie." They go, "You mean Jacob and Ronnie?" "Yeah, just Ronnie." Because you mean Jacob? "No, I want to speak to Ronnie." "I'm sorry, there's no Ronnie." "Okay, I'll speak to Jacob." Because it's
Yeah,
one
Jacob
it
and
sounds like they're
Ronnie.
saying Jacob and Ronnie. It's actually that's his whole name, Jacob.
I'm hoping this is just a pun and you didn't actually do this, Craig.
I did do it. I may have been inebriated when I did it.
You may have
Nice.
been.
May have
You
So I
may
always
have.
like the way this show comes back full circle.
Really? What circle have we gone to? I don't know.
He was inebriated.
And we're
Oh.
inebriated again. I may not been firing on all cylinders.
Because I don't know, even as inebriated as I've been in my life, if I would call up and can I talk to Ann Ronnie?
Dude, what I did stuff when I was drunk. I used to, when I was 30, I would call old teachers, shop teachers, gym teachers that I had crushes on, and I would tell them who I was and I had a crush on them. I don't know how I'm not beat up. I did, man. It was like that movie, Boys in the Band. I just really did it.
Wow.
Mm.
So
I was
here's a
crazy.
tip. Here's a tip.
That's
to anyone
not creepy
listening.
or anything.
It's very creepy.
Here's a tip to anyone who's listening. If you ever have to go to court, right? This is a really good tip. And this is how I've won a lot of cases. So what you do, I'm telling you,
I've won many cases like this.
did.
And
I don't know. Are we allowed to dispense legal advice on this show?
yes, this is unofficial legal advice. So what you do is if the cop says something in court that isn't exactly correct,
right.
because you remember the incident way more than they're ever going to remember the incident.
That's true.
So they've had 100 incidents since your incidents.
Right.
So like once I had an accident, the guy had no brake lights and no license plate, and it was a mess. And so I cross-examined the cop, and I go, "Do you remember whether he had any license plate or brake lights on the car?" And he says, "I could be. I don't recall."
John, where was this?
Traffic court.
No, but I mean, where in Florida?
Florida, yeah.
See, because you
can do it in New York.
No.
Florida actually has a high. Yes, you can.
No, because you know what? I went to traffic court one time in New York, and I swear to God, the guy behind me, in front of me, tried to make some kind of a defense, and the judge just looked at him and he said, "You're guilty. Do you want to fucking still make a defense?" And I went, "No," and so it was like, I don't. Maybe Florida they have the time to actually
New York.
you.
No, because this is what happens in New York. So I've been in New York. All right, I'm very experienced. In New York, the first question they say is, they go, "Before we go on, I'm going to state this one fact. It's either guilty or not guilty. There is no such thing
Guilty with an explanation."
explanation.
Yeah.
And that's all those people at. So you say not guilty, then you talk to the cop, and then in the end you summarize and you say, so you say I hit this person. You don't actually remember the fact whether the guy had brake lights or not. You don't remember whether he had a license plate. What was the weather like that day? And the guy goes, I don't remember. I go, you don't remember this. You don't remember that. You don't remember this. But you do remember this one detail. It seems hard to believe. No more further questions.
Look at this, Perry. It's
I'm
Perry
hiring you
Ferrentino.
next time, John.
Perry Mason Ferrentino.
I'm telling you. You guys know Bill, right? Ask Bill.
Excuse me, man, but it seems to me
We
the
just had a
evidence
friend
of
of
the
ours.
case.
We just had a friend of ours lose a huge legal case, and Bill said to him, "You should have hired John to represent you."
Yeah, dude. John, you should take the bar exam. No,
Well, John,
I mean, look,
I was
you
like I
should,
said,
huh?
I was hit. The other night. I'm thinking about maybe I should consult an attorney about my injuries. Would you be interested in my case, John?
I
am not registered in California.
You guys don't know this, but I took the bar exam in New York, but I failed it. I mixed up vodka and gin. Thank you. I'm here all week.
I thought you were going to say you couldn't find the bar.
I couldn't find the bar.
That's like we took a poll, and you know how painful that is. These are very bad puns.
Welcome to the Jeff Zabrowski show.
I know. Take a bowl. Woo.
Oh.
Was that ever an ambition of yours? Was to be able? I mean, do you ever have never thought about being a level? What besides show business? I know you were a radiologist, but I don't know if that's what you wanted to be. Did you have another dream?
Confidence.
Did you have another dream?
Yes, when I was very young, I wanted to pick up the papers on the side of the highway with a stick.
And you got to accomplish that once.
That's what my parents told me. And every
Really?
time, my parents go, "We were really disturbed."
John, I've lived your dream.
He goes, every time we see that guy on the side of the road picking up the papers, you would go, when you were little, "I'd love to do that someday."
Yeah, I lived your dream in an orange jumpsuit.
I would have really liked to have been a doctor.
I lived your dream. Man.
My dream was to be a baseball player.
Yeah, that's your typical average
But I was
American boy
good.
dream.
I could freaking hit. I just
but it doesn't even matter. It's like there were tons of people have that dream that aren't, and it's just a dream. But like, see, I had a dream. And this is probably you guys are gonna laugh, but I wanted to be a veterinarian.
I thought you were going to say I want to be a dancer. Then I would have left.
A dancer? No, I wanted to be a veterinarian.
That's great. What's wrong with that? You said you're nice to dogs, and
the only reason I didn't pursue it is because I couldn't stand the sight of animals in pain. I couldn't deal with animals, and you know what I mean. I couldn't be around.
Well,
and I'm so grateful for the people that can. Huh?
I understand totally because when I worked in the city, when I worked at Jacoby Hospital, I begged to have them transfer me to
Star Trek, transmit me.
pediatrics, you
Right.
know,
Click
and
and depend,
and
Jen.
I got switched to pediatrics, and I lasted 4 days because
Well,
I
yeah.
these little kids that sick.
See,
you know?
I'm grateful for that. There are other people that can do things that others can't, that be around that kind of take care of kids with cancer, take care of animal. My heart would just fall out of my chest. I couldn't do it. And I'm so grateful that there are people that
Yeah,
seem to be able to
I see
compartmentalize their emotions.
ICU nurses, or the worst ever. The job that you got to give these people the most credit for is ever are nurses in a burn unit.
Yeah. See, I'd have to be a junkie, man. I'd have to be fucking whacked out on drugs just to
Nurse
deal with.
Jackie.
I couldn't deal with that shit.
Nurse Jackie, she was always on drugs.
Makes sense. I don't know how some of these people aren't.
Well, I studied to be a I started off studying to be a doctor. Organic chem derailed me, but I love physiology, pathology. I love all that stuff, and I'm still good at it. But I never got to the point where I actually had to deal with patients and stuff like that. So I don't know how I would have reacted.
Here's another tip to all you listeners that Mike talks about being in the projects. A lot of you people have like those cages over your windows in the projects
Mhm.
and the
Bars,
doors.
you mean?
Yeah, the bars. And a lot of you just put on any ordinary lock. You need to get a fireproof approved lock, because I cannot tell you how many times when I worked in the hospital that a fire started in the house and
And
the
they
people
couldn't get out.
because the tumblers in the lock melted, and you bake like you're in an oven.
Oh, hey.
But
But
on
I'm
the other
serious,
hand,
it's a lot of people don't know that. A lot of
No.
people don't know that.
but
Right, Mike?
you do end up delicious.
Happy New
It's a
Year.
slow, it's a slow
No,
cookie.
I mean I'm being really serious. I mean
I know
it's
you
I
are.
know.
really,
I know.
it's a really bad thing, and people don't know it. They go, "Oh, I just put a lock on there," They
Well,
go
you
to
know
the
what?
dollar
Today,
store and buy a lock.
I'm sure today that if anyone who has those kind of, they have to be approved. I'm sure you can't just throw any kind of a lock on any kind of, especially if it's public housing.
Yeah, but I mean, if the lock is gone, there's always somebody. Oh, get one from the dollar store. Or,
That's true. That's true.
Well,
it's
2 minute warning, guys.
2 minute
Oh.
warning. So we got to bring it around. What did we talk about in the beginning of the show?
So we got a couple of emails of what we did on New Year's Eve, being exciting jet setter podcasters.
Oh God.
There you go.
So I'll go first. I took NyQuil and fell asleep at 5 to 12 and woke up 3 minutes after 12. That was my exciting night.
Oh man.
What did you do, Mike?
I will same. I mean, I watched some of the freaking festivities on TV, but I was sick as a dog. We were for Christmas, we were in Rockefeller Center, and I'm talking about masses of humanity. No mask. We didn't wear. The funny thing is, we're walking around for like an hour through this throngs of people, and suddenly my wife turns to me and she goes, "Oh shit, COVID." I just laughed. What are
You got COVID again?
No, I didn't test, so I don't know. But no, we got some kind of stuff. We both got some kind of stomach virus or
Okay.
something. And
All right, good.
No, but I was not feeling so good
Yeah.
So really nothing. So Craig probably had the most exciting fucking New Year's Eve out of all of us.
No, I was driving rideshare, taking people where they were going and taking them back. And at midnight, I was driving an androgynous person,
Pat.
who's definitely a they. I was driving them to.
Now wait a minute, Craig. If it's a they, if they're really fat, is it a them?
It was them. Yeah, definitely a them. I was driving them from the Santa Monica Pier to where they lived, and when I picked them up, I said, well, it's going to be midnight by the time we get to go. Oh yeah. And so at midnight she goes, "Happy New Year," and I went, "Happy New Year to you too." And she was on the phone with her mother, so that was really embarrassing. She's Happy New Year to her mother on the phone. And I'm like, "Yeah, Happy New Year to you too."
Have you ever done that when you go to the airport and you're going away somewhere and the guy goes, "Have a nice trip," and you go, "You too."
You too.
Oh my God!
I did it this fucking trip. Because you think he's gonna say "Have a nice day," and I'm going,
Right.
"You too," but he's like, "Have a nice trip," and I'm like, "It's too
But when
late.
you're
It's already
driving
coming out of my
rideshare-
mouth."
But when you're driving rideshare, that kind of works because I am going to be taking trips, so it kind of works for me. But
Well, it's funny. I was going to Kansas City once and to do something. Every time I said to someone, they go, "Where are you going this weekend?" I go, "Kansas City." They go, "Kansas City, here I come." Like every single person. So I
Yeah.
get to the airport and I give the guy my bags and I tip him. He goes, "Where are you going today?" I go, "Kansas City." He goes, "They got some pretty little
Wow.
women there." And I was like, "You win. You totally win."
yeah, it's like when somebody gets in my car, right, and they go, yeah, I'm going to LAX, Terminal 2, JetBlue, and I go, hey,
Oh,
what
JetBlue is Terminal 5.
You're right. Okay. Ooh, nice. I go,
Oh, you should-
okay, Delta, Terminal 2. And he'll go, I'm going to Delta, Terminal 2. And I go, hey, what a coincidence. So am I. As a joke, because I'm driving.
Right.
And more than half the time they go, really? Where are you flying to? No, I'm driving the car there.
You go, I'm
Dude.
you
Oh,
go,
man.
surprise, surprise,
Is that right?
surprise.
Sergeant
Today-
Carter?
I'm
Today-
going with you.
Today
We're going to
show was-
Kansas City.
I'm
Yeah.
going with you. I got my credit card, your credit card information. and I
Today's
booked
show is
myself a
brought to you
ticket.
by Hot Pot Noose. I got a Hot Pot
I thought you-
Noose.
I thought you were going to say Hot Pockets. I really did.
Hot-
I did too.
Hot
Noose.
Pockets. And Jim Gaffigan.
I got a Hot Pot Noose. Ooh,
Take us
man.
home, John.
Hey, John, that's a Hot Pot Noose you got there, man. I like your Hot Pot Noose. That's something else you got right there. Yeah,
You got
man.
high on pot news.
I like that Hot Pot Noose you got.
Okay,
Wow.
I know we're leaving, but speaking of pot, can you go anywhere now without smelling that skunky?
Oh, fuck. And it all smells like skunk's asshole.
I have no sense of smell, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's constant. It doesn't smell. It doesn't smell
I
like
don't smell
anything I
anything.
ever smoked.
No, because pot used to smell nice. You'd get some pot. Now, some smelled like skunk, and we called it skunk weed. But most of it, a lot of it smelled nice. Had a nice fucking. But now you smell it, all smells like fucking this skunky.
I
so
have no
strong.
sense of smell.
It's so
I
strong.
can't tell.
Chris, when I was out before, when I was trying to get back, there was a guy behind me that must have been smoking because my whole car reeked of it.
Wow.
And it's like, I mean, how strong a smell is that?
Yeah, when we were in Rockefeller Center, there were fucking people. This girl walking around. She got a joint in her hand and she's smoking.
Well, it's
And
legal
like,
in New York now, right?
Legal
But
in
is
New
it
York.
is it legal to just smoke it out
Oh,
the
yeah,
street like
totally
that?
legal.
She's smoking it and it smells this. I'm getting a freaking secondhand high from this little idiot. It's their skunk.
And that
weed.
does not break your sobriety, by the way, if it's accidental.
No, I'm not even worried about that. It's like I wasn't really getting high, although I did go eat a pizza. No, I'm just kidding. But
That's why I hang out in opium dens. I go, well, if I get high, it's not my fault.
there you go. If that needle actually flies in my asshole,
Yeah. Wow.
All right. With that,
On that note-
asshole,
get a pot noose.
time to.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, have a great week. And we'll be back here next week to see you on the Big Bad Broadcast.
Catch us on Spotify, on the podcast playground, on Apple.
Or
We're
anywhere.
everywhere.
Apple's a little disappointing. Apple, it hasn't been upgrading as fast as it should be.
Well, I'll give them a call and have a talk with them today.
I'll call Mr. Cook. We're family.
Hello.
Well, we're friends
And
with Dorothy.
that's where I like to listen to my podcast on.
Is this Apple? Can I have
I
the
love Apple.
delicious? Can I have the delicious division, please?
I think the Granny Smith show, please. The Granny Smith show.
You're right. We have such a problem ending the show.
That's okay.
We need a pre-record.
Okay,
something.
it's it. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you next week.